Hello, Internet. Eric here again. Back for a movie review. Yeah, you can already tell how this is gonna go. Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice is coming out soon. Coming out, I believe, next month. So, and it's got me pumped up because I'm a huge Superman fan. Batman too. So lately, to get me pumped up, I've been listening to a series of podcasts based on the Superman films and anything related to Superman. And if I had not seen the film yet, or probably hadn't seen it in probably decades, I would go to watch the film so I understood what they were talking about. So I had to rewatch Supergirl because I hadn't seen that probably since I was a young kid. But that's not what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the next film in their Superman series. And that film, sadly, was Steel, starring everybody's favorite basketball star turned into actor, Shaquille O'Neal. And yeah, I think this worked out a lot better instead of me having to, fucking show you what's on my phone and worry for the glare. But yeah, we're talking Steel tonight. Now, how does this work into Superman? Maybe you're wondering. After Superman died, he was killed off in the comics. Well, first off, this piece of shit came out in 1997, starring Shaquille O'Neal. What the fuck is his name? Judd Nelson. Shaft, Richard Roundtree's in it. That rap star Ray J, who's pretty much only famous for banging Kim Kardashian in that sex video. Anyways, Superman was killed in the comics. And while he was dead, there were 4 other Supermen that came out. Okay? And one of them was a black man named John Henry Irons. He wasn't super at all. He was just a man from the ghetto. He was rescued by Superman in a comic. And he was inspired by Superman to do the greater good. And he was very popular, and I really liked him. Loved him a lot, and he just went by Steel. So, someone gets the idea to make Steel into a live-action film. Okay. Someone gets the idea to make Shaquille O'Neal the star of this live-action film. Yeah. I'd never seen Blue Chips, which starred Shaquille O'Neal, but he was playing a basketball player, and I heard it was pretty damn good. Never seen Kazam, never wanted to, and I know of its reputation. And I knew of Steel's reputation going into this, but I figured, hey, if my expectations are low or down in the toilet, maybe I'll enjoy this. No, didn't. Cut into the chase. This movie was total crap, and I couldn't stand it. Now, here's a plot summary. Shaq plays John Henry Irons, same character from the comic. And first off, I think they couldn't get any rights to the Superman name or what have you. Plus, it'd probably be a lot harder to throw him into any type of Superman films or making mention. So I understand they're taking this in its whole new direction. Whatever. And it won't be the first comic book movie you've ever fucking seen where it doesn't match up with the source material. So this is basically Steel, John Henry Irons, in name and character only. Anyways, Shaq plays John Henry Irons, and he's working for the military. And he creates this weapon where it's a non-lethal way to take down the enemy. It's a gun or a rifle or a cannon, what have you, because it goes into different weapons. He's found out the way to take sound waves. And as this weapon is fired, it takes those sound waves and puts them into like a physical, I guess, thing. It's like this. When you see it, in the film, it's like this gigantic ball, and it shoots, and it'll take down buildings and what have you. And it's a perfect way for non-lethal use to take down your enemies. And Judd Nelson from Breakfast Club and all that stuff in the 80s and 90s, he plays a partner of his, and he's in this for the money. And they're doing a demonstration, which is basically the very beginning of Short Circuit. showing how it could take out tanks and what have you. And the senator is there, the state senator. And Judd kind of, you know, hey, Senator, I can show you what this really does by cranking up the power and what have you. And, you know, trying to get money and his name out. So Judd Nelson, Shaq, and the female lead, who is named Sparky. Yeah. Obviously, it's a nickname. I didn't pay attention to what her full fucking name was because it doesn't care. Sparky is like John Henry Irons' best friend. They even have this cute little secret handshake where all they do is this. It's like the fucking E.T. thing. Anyways, Judd Nelson cranks up the voltage. It results in a backfire. The building that they're in crumbles. It paralyzes Sparky and it kills the senator. Judd Nelson is court-martialed, kicked out of the military. Shaq, he's like, you know what? I don't want any more of this. It's too bad. He quits the military and goes home. Eventually, Judd Nelson is selling this weapon to an underground arms dealer with the help of gang members to make money. Shaq finds out about this, and with the help of Sparky and Ray J, and I think this is like 12, 13-year-old Ray J before puberty because he sounds kind of like Steve Urkel a little bit. With the help of them and his Uncle Joe, played by Richard Roundtree, who played Shaft, who looks just like a fucking homeless man. With their help, they stop Judd Nelson and the arms dealer and the gang members from taking over the world or the neighborhood or whatever. That's it. Basic cookie cutter plot. There's not one good thing I could say about this movie, really. Well, you know what? Richard Roundtree as homeless Uncle Joe had some fun with the role, and I laughed a couple times. But overall, this movie's total shit. First off, your lead actor is Shaquille O'Neal. Don't ever put this motherfucker in a lead role unless you want notoriety for something being crap. His line delivery is crap. You know, he's still got that smug look on his face, and he smiles and gets that, you know, all his teeth visible, like you see in all these fucking commercials he does. He's not very likable. Not because he's an asshole, but he's just like, you know, this guy's a chump. He's not very intimidating. I mean, if I was a man being chased by a 7'2", 300-pound black dude, I would be scared. But the way Shaquille O'Neal comes off in this movie, he's not afraid of anything. And the main reason you won't be afraid of him is when you finally see him in uniform. Now, this is what steel is supposed to look like. Now, I understand the budget, so it probably wouldn't be completely like that. And they would have to take off the S and the cape. Fine. So, Shaquille O'Neal, John Henry Irons, is working in a metal factory, you know, forging metal and stuff like that. So he makes his own costume, which they did in the comic. Will you be intimidated of that if that's chasing you? First off, he looks like someone put old-timey like pots and pans to him, and like those old like the stove pipes that came through the old like 1800 houses on him right here. That's what that shit is. And what the fuck is this? He looks like, you know, he looks like the offspring of like the Predator and a cricket. Or something like that. I don't know, because here's like the feeler. I don't even know how to fucking describe this. And the problem is, the budget is such shit. Oh, there's Sparky right there. The problem is such shit. See, now I can't even fucking talk. The budget was such shit. Obviously, Shaquille O'Neal is 7'2" and 300 pounds, so he can't have fucking metal on him all the time. So it's made of rubber. You see him forge this fucking mask in the metalworks, but right here, when he talks, this part here, it moves and flaps in the wind and everything. Motherfucking thing is rubber and it shows. So there. And the thing is, he's not intimidating either because once he's in this outfit and he's running from the police or he's chasing down thugs, and you can tell the thugs are bad guys because, you know, one of them wears a fucking eye patch and, you know, that means bad. You could see this guy's out of breath and he's He's not even like intimidating, like running. It's literally shuffling his fucking feet. And he's made to look like an idiot half the time. So bad. Sparky. No one cares about Sparky. No one cares about Sparky. First off, after she gets hurt, you think you're gonna sympathize with her, but then you see her relationship with John Henry Irons, and you just realize how it's so fucking annoying. You're not gonna care. And then there's a scene where she thinks her life's over. John is visiting her in the hospital, what have you. She's just staring out the window, basically saying her life's over. So what does John Henry Irons do? He basically kidnaps her. He throws open the window, saying there's a world out there, and he lifts up her in her wheelchair and walks her out of the door. And I'm thinking it's just a really, really bad, homage to An Officer and a Gentleman. No, this was just complete garbage. Judd Nelson, who I enjoy, I liked him in Breakfast Club. He was funny in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I haven't seen a lot of his work, but here he was so goddamn annoying as well. He wasn't intimidating. He wasn't a good villain because he seemed like a jackass half the time with the way he was acting. And then the other time when he was not being a jackass, he was trying to channel some evil villain, like, I think he was trying to channel like Lex Luthor or something like that, or this mad scientist, and he just come off as some stupid fucktard, and so bad. There's also, and then I don't know who the fuck was writing this stuff, because there's a scene where Judd Nelson is explaining to all of his men, what the hell's happening, and steel crashes through the ceiling, and it's after Sparky has been kidnapped, and instead of getting up and stopping Judd Nelson and the bad guys, he sits there and just listens while laying down. He doesn't get up or anything. Listening to Judd Nelson give out his plans for world domination or what have you. I wasn't paying attention at this point. This movie is fucking an hour and a half long, and it was just god awful. And he just stands there and listens. Doesn't do a goddamn thing. If you're supposed to be a superhero and you're trying to stop this man, why are you just sitting there? I mean, I understand it's like the whole James Bond aspect. The villain's got to tell his, plot. But this guy just stood there, or laid there. Yeah, he didn't even stand there. He laid there with this dumbass look on his face, listening to him. Ray J. He was a cross between those. If you're my age, you remember those old Micro Machine commercials, and they had the man who was like one of the fastest talker in the world. So you mix him with a kid who is probably 12 years old, his nuts hasn't dropped, so he hasn't hit puberty yet. He still talks with a high-pitched voice. So mix that, and then you mix in whatever ghetto slang was popular in 1997. Throw that in a ball and throw it against the wall, and whatever drips on the floor, that's Ray J's character. I don't even know if he's supposed to be Steele's brother or little cousin. Who cares? He's probably the most annoying thing in this film. When we meet up with Uncle Joey, like I said, that's Shaft. Of all people, the coolest motherfucker in the 70s, with the blaxploitation films. And they got him like a homeless man. They have this, little bat cave made in the fucking junkyard. And he looks fucking homeless. I mean, how far have you fallen, dude, that you gotta do this? And then they make Shaft jokes. There's so many fucking basketball jokes in here. I mean, there's a scene where at the fucking end, Steele and Ray J are caught in the building. It's burning down. And it's after Judd Nelson is killed. I told you I can't even remember how he was fucking killed because I lost interest in this film. But there's a scene where they're trapped in this room. And one of the villains throws a grenade at them. And the only way to get the grenade out of this room is through a wire gate, which, the hole is just like this big. So obviously the perfect size for a fucking grenade to go in. So Shaq has to, shoot a free throw, and he says, "Oh, I've never been able to make these things." Ha ha, fucking basketball joke again, which we got in the fucking beginning of this movie. And this whole thing with the grenade took about 30 seconds to happen. I'm no military guy, but I don't think a grenade will, not explode after 30 seconds. So of course Shaq makes the free throw, kills another bad guy. Hooray. Yeah. This movie is probably one of the worst movies I have ever watched in recent memory. And like I said, I went into this with zero expectations. And I thought maybe I could like it. I went into Ant-Man with low expectations. Loved it. Ant-Man was fantastic. So I'm like, I already know Steel, is going to be nothing like the comic, and I already know Shaq is shit, but maybe I'll have fun. Or maybe it'll be so bad it's good. This was so bad it was crap. And I hope to never ever have to watch this film again. There's no redeeming thing about this film other than a couple Richard Roundtree jokes. There's an ongoing fucking story when Steel comes home. And he's living with his grandma because obviously he's got nowhere to live at the moment. And there's this ongoing fucking joke where his grandma is trying to learn how to make a souffle. His grandma's trying to learn how to make a souffle. So every time he runs in the room, she's like, shh, be quiet. We don't want my souffle to fall. This happens 3 fucking times in this film. And then the first time, Ray J kicks down the door. Hey, Grandma, John's home, blah, blah, blah. She tells him to be quiet. Souffle falls. So what does she do? She says, this souffle would have worked if you didn't jump in like James Brown screaming, I feel good. And she sings part of the song. Then we get another scene with the fucking souffle as John Henry Irons is running away from the bad guys. And then how does the movie end? Grandma opens up a fucking restaurant that specializes in souffles. I'm done. This movie here, Steel, Shaq, is shit. Don't ever watch this film unless you want 90 minutes of your life taken away and never gotten back. Yeah, I don't even know how to end this fucking video. It was torturous. If I could take this, little sword right here and cut myself open, I'd end my misery. I wanted to do this with this fucking film. Took me 2 days to watch it, and it was garbage. So, yeah, Steel, don't see it. Ever. Ever. Alright, thank you for watching me, ramble on for nearly 20 minutes about some piece of shit film with Shaquille O'Neal. If you like what you see, here's my usual spiel. Please comment below. Please like the video. Please subscribe. Please watch my other stuff. Whatever. Whatever you do, don't see Steel, with Shaquille O'Neal. Or anything else for him. God, I hated this man before because of his cocky fucking attitude. You always see him in interviews and commercials. And now I just hate him even more, I'm glad this wasn't, associated with Superman because then you'd fuck that up for me too. So, yeah. Adios.